Hello, Justin here. Welcome back to another video. And today's going to be Friday, and we want to make sure that we're going to be ending the week on a high note. There is a lot of uncertainty right now. I don't want to jump into the specifics of why the market is moving. I think we all know why. There is some major conflict erupting in Europe, and there was a power plant that was attacked. So I think what's really important for us to understand this week is going back to the weekend notes, which we'll do in a second here, and trying to understand if this was a trap, what it would look like, and more importantly, should we be holding on into the weekend, or should we be trying to raise some cash or do something different today? So let's jump straight in and let's go through this. I'd also just want to mention that again, my thoughts and prayers go out to anyone affected by this. This is a stock market channel, but it's hard to ignore the human impact and the societal impact which is potentially happening here. So if you're feeling down and out, try to find something that's going to make you happy over the weekend, because reading the news, keeping the news on, reading headlines, it's scary right now. And if you want to find a reason to get scared, just keep doing that. If you want to find some kind of normal and again, trade profitably, you need to be level headed. So just try to keep that in mind as we go through the rest of the day and into the weekend. So let's jump in here. Where I want to start today is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be looking at the dollar. And the reason why I want to look at the dollar is because when we look at what it's been doing on the day, so looking over here, right now, the dollar is up by about 1% on the day. We can look at the futures market for ES, and we see it's roughly down by 0.95. So the reason why this matters is because as the dollar advances, it is inversely correlated to the markets, which means if the dollar goes up by 1%, the market should go down by 1%. That's exactly what happened yesterday. The dollar went up by 0.5%. The market went down by 0.5%. So if you want to understand what's going to be happening to SPY or QQQ or any other name, you have to understand what's happening to the dollar. And the reason why this is particularly important, I'll show my face here, is just because the significance of the US dollar in terms of the global economy is that everything that is foreign denominated is settled in US dollars. So let's pretend you are someone in Europe where there was nearly a limit down. The DAX went down almost 4%. So you're selling your securities. It could be anything. You're selling gold, you're selling oil, you're selling stocks. What does it get settled in? It gets settled in US dollars. So as you sell your asset, you get US dollars in return. So what does that create? It creates an artificial bid for US dollars as people are liquidating positions. So naturally, the dollar is going to go up. Why? The dollar's king. And like I said, everything is settled in US dollars. So as of right now, there is an artificial bid into the dollar because if there is going to be anything that erupts in Europe, guess where you're safe? Anywhere outside of Europe. And the dollar's already king, so we have to keep that in mind. So without overcomplicating this, the dollar right now, or the DXY, which has roughly 40% of euro, again, the euro US dollar falls to a 20-month low of 1.09 after US jobs data. Again, we're going to ignore the jobs data for now. It came in really strong, and we ticked down to 3.8% unemployment. So that's a double-edged sword for the Europeans because the US is growing stronger. There's more employment and there's less geopolitical risk. So the path for the dollar is likely going to be, at least as long as things are boiling in Europe, to go higher. Where would be the next natural spot? Well, $100. So we can even note here that on the month, again, which started on Tuesday, we're up by about 2%. A 2% move is dramatic, but we can definitely repeat it. So if we're going to keep going higher, I'd be looking for roughly 100. And if we look at where we are right now, that's going to be roughly another 1.3%, which means we could potentially be fading by about another 1.3% on the S&P. Why? Again, we talked about the inverse correlation. So if we now go to ES and just try to understand what a 1.3% drop would imply if at some point we hit 100 on the DXY, again, from where we are right now, another 1.3% lower, we're only here at about 425. So that would be a monthly low, a new monthly low relative to March, but it would not it would not obliterate the chart. We'd basically be retesting the low we set in October. So that's really important for us to understand. The next thing I want to do before we go forward is just trying to understand whether or not the shakeout of our key dates and our why are we bull or why are we bear, and then also our bear market targets, if any of those have changed, as the story changed. And I'm going to go through and try to explain right now. So we have all the data, right? We got the State of the Union, we got Powell 1, we got Powell 2. The first three here, which are in bold, are the most important. Net effect from Joe Biden, meh. Net effect from Jerome Powell, 2% up. Net effect from Jerome Powell day two, 0.5% down. So where are we? Well, as we closed out the cash market yesterday, meaning the normal trading in New York, we're down by 0.5% on the week. That's not that bad. That's an higher high, higher low here on the weekly, testing the 50 MA. Where do we close today? I have no idea. However, I think that the negative news is now having a more muted effect on what's going to happen here. We basically heard about how, again, last night, the concern was that this power plant, I forget what it's called. I can't pronounce it. It could be 10 times worse than Chernobyl. If anyone knows what that means, it's really bad. The power plant is now safe, is what people are saying. It's now occupied by Russia. However, that headline, when it came out, we have an established low. The established low tells us where, again, when the algos are trading, again, 10 times the biggest nuclear plant, right? And we also heard Lavrov yesterday saying that World War III can only be nuclear. So I think we pretty much got our worst case scenario, at least from a headline perspective, and the algos trading. So with that in mind, let's look at the chart. Let's look back at ES here. And yesterday we were talking about daily higher highs and higher lows. So now let's look and see whether or not there is a significant change to that pattern. So let's look here. There was also intraday. The reason why we got that massive tick up is because we heard about peace talks. Yeah, okay, yeah, peace talks. Yeah, okay, Putin. Listen over here while I do this over here. So what I want to point out is just that, let's delete everything and redo this really fast here, make it nice and big so you guys can see it. What I'm noticing is this. So excluding this one day, excluding the last like 2 days, if we just exclude those two, like pretend this candle didn't happen here, what do we have? Well, again, we don't have a higher high, but we do still have a higher low. So low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. This low actually held. So in the ES, which trades overnight, what happened on some of the worst case scenario headlines? We held the low. If you understand what that means, it means that bad news is not having as big of a negative reaction as it used to. So if we were setting higher highs and higher lows, and now we have a new pattern, why? Lower high, lower low. That basically tells you that potentially we're seeing a trend change. Where would we confirm that? By losing the low here. And the low here is at 4278.25, roughly 427 on SPY. And why does that level matter? Again, let's look back at our monthly chart. Our low here on the month is 42711. Okay. So whether we like what Justin said or not, hopefully we understand. If you guys are watching right now on the private stream, could you please just give me a 1 for yes or 2 for no? So that as I'm wrapping up the recording, I can make sure people understand what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to speak as simply as I can. I'm trying to stay calm, cool, collected. And I'm trying to make sure you guys understand the levels. Why? Forget about the news. What matters more is the reaction to the news. So regardless of why we're going up or why we're going down, it's, are we holding? Are we holding the key areas? That's all that matters. And again, mentioned this before, mentioned this on the weekend. If you traded through the US-China trade talks, it was so tough. Why? We were moving on headlines, and the algos read the headlines and know what's happening before you. What does that mean? You were at a disadvantage in terms of data, in terms of reaction time, in terms of being worn out. Computers don't care about any of that. They just buy and sell. So if that's where you're sitting right now and you're unsure about where we're going to go, don't do anything. I personally believe that into the weekend, we're going to get resolution one way or the other. By resolution, I mean, we're either going to have something bad happen, something worse, which is what NATO's saying. It's what Emmanuel Macron said after his phone call with Putin. I think there's going to be some kind of resolution into either the weekend, early next week, or next week, either the worst case scenario or something in between. And we know that the market hates uncertainty. So if right now, even though we don't like the outcome, what is happening in Europe is becoming more predictable. It is becoming less uncertain. So once we actually get a conclusion to this, the market can start to digest, price in what's going to happen, and then either advance or start to decline. That's really important for us because as we look forward to the next part here, again, we got two more things to look at here. First thing we're going to look at is why we're bull or why we're bear. I make these notes and I'm going to make an effort to go through this more as we do these pre-market streams if it's relevant. Why? I'm quite surprised. Again, yesterday I said I was looking for a bull reaction. Here we are. I don't think anyone could have predicted that we were going to be hearing the headlines we did yesterday. And if you did, you're a sad fucking loser because who is dreaming and hoping that we see the headlines we saw yesterday? That is pathetic, and I don't like it at all. Again, oh yeah, World War III, let's go. That is not the mentality I want to have and not how I want to make my nut. So when we look here, why bull or why bear? I basically told you the bulls got the test of a lifetime overnight. The low held, the daily higher low held, excluding one day, and the SPY level held as well at 427. So if the bottom is in, we cannot go lower. We need to advance. And I looked through on the options chain. I'm not going to bring it up here just for time. There's nothing that's changed for the Friday expiry or for the March expiry in a notable way. Open interest premium is all the same from where we were on the weekend, which means positioning has not changed. And if the bulls are in control, we should see them advance the chart. If they're not, we're going to lose that low. So in terms of the bulls, let's just go through the level really fast here. And this is going to be a little bit of a longer video because frankly, I think we need it. So let's go to here. Let's go to the chart that I was looking at yesterday, looking at this one. So what I would note is that the two key levels for me, we're set to open here at 431.3 as we're recording the video. If we lose the low from Wednesday at 431.57, that is very bad. Then where are we likely going to go? Back down to 427. If we're able to get back above the low from yesterday at 433.8, that is how we can actually start advancing. So what I would be looking for is either a break, a decisive break of 431.7 or 433.6. So by decisive, I'm talking about at least a 15-minute candle close, but ideally an hour close. We're not just going to fade into the sunset without doing any tests. We're also not going to rip to the moon without doing any tests. So these two levels are going to be the most important, 431.7, 433.8. And if the bears are in control, they should obliterate those levels at the open. If we look at what happened to the DAX overnight, I'll show you what happened here. So a gap down, we got a micro pump up, and then it slammed down to the end of the day, leaving a gap on the chart, and it's currently down by 3.2%. So if that happens here, again, what's going to happen? We're going to gap down, we're going to push up, we're going to reject off this 433.6 and then lose 431.7. That's how we set up a negative day, which could be multiple percents. Losing 427, potentially even getting down to like 420s today. So if at low 420, sorry. If that's the case, we're going to know by Friday, period. In terms of surprises, we also see that, other thing I want to point out here is that there's a 95% chance of a 25 basis point hike in March now, which is going to be next week, which means the market is basically confirming what Jerome Powell said. To finish it off here, if we're going to be bearish, again, the inflation narrative is right there. However, Jerome Powell is saying that I still believe, didn't use the word transitory, but he said second half of 2022, we're likely going to see expectations come back down. So for right now, we're still not fighting the Fed. They're still saying that's going to be doing what we want. And the market is already priced in largely what Jerome wanted. In terms of surprises, geopolitics is likely still going to be number one. The net effect from the Fed, not so bad. And then bear input flow. So think about this. And again, I know that being rational right now can be quite difficult, but look at the levels and ask yourself, have we done enough technical damage to say the bears are in control? We have a bear market happening in QQQ. We've got a bear market almost happening in the DAX, 20% peak to trough. The S&P at 432 is only at negative 10%. So what does that tell you? We're only in correction territory, and there's not a bear market yet. And if we know the levels, specifically that 431, 433, and 427, don't try to tell the market what it's doing. Look at what's happening and then try to understand. Don't be like, oh, well, we're going to 380. Oh, we're going to 500. Look at the levels. Look at how we react to them, which is more important, like I said. And if you see something that tells you that your position might be wrong, you're on the wrong side, don't ignore it. Going into the weekend with a sour note is how I have had some of my worst trading weeks because I chase it into the Friday. Over the weekend, I'm not sleeping. I'm trying to think about how can I make it back first thing on Monday, or how red am I going to be on Monday? And then you don't sleep. You're not prepared for success. So if everything that I've told you does not give you a clear plan of action, what you should do is this. And again, this is not financial advice, but it's from personal experience. Don't do anything today. Don't act emotionally. If you haven't already raised cash or you haven't already de-risked, today might not be the day to do it. It might be the day to do it too, though. You have to think about, what do I normally do on the weekend when I have a red position? Do I dwell on it? Do I make an action plan? That's one thing. There's two things we always talk about on this channel. Damage control and opportunity seeking. If you're in damage control right now, assess the damage. You should have already done it, by the way. And if you're realizing that I have too much risk on the table, take some off. Maybe don't liquidate, though. And if you're in opportunity seeking mode, there is going to be opportunities today, opportunities next week, opportunities next month. If you don't have high conviction in any one of these trades, sit on the sidelines and don't do anything. Thank you for watching. And there's going to be a video that queues up here if you want to see my "This is a Trap Weekend" video. And honestly, everything that I laid out there is currently underway. But with all of these big significant bear tests, I am not seeing enough to tell me that the bears are in short-term control, meaning from March 1st to where we are now. Why? The monthly low held. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys for the normal videos on the weekend. Thank you.